it's Kelly from Silly Moon Quilting Co. Today we're going to teach you all about the basics of ruler work and what you need to get started. So quilting with your domestic machine is really pretty easy. What we're going to do today is show you the basics of ruler quilting and the supplies that will make your job a whole lot easier if you're going to do ruler quilting. So obviously you need a sewing machine. You don't need one as big as this. You have some space in here. The more space you have, obviously, just like quilting, makes it a little bit easier. But if you've got a smaller machine, that's fine. And the biggest prerequisite is that you have a ruler foot for your machine. And we'll talk about that in a minute. One other product that makes your life a whole lot easier is if you've got some sort of extension table or at least an area around your machine that you can put rulers on that they don't tip off the edge. The bigger space you have, obviously, the easier it is because it'll keep it nice and smooth when you're working with your rulers. No different than free motion quilting. Ruler quilting is very similar to free motion quilting, and the advantage of ruler quilting is that you can use the same foot for both. So the other thing that I find quite handy, is you want to make sure that you have some quilting sandwiches prepared so that when you're in the groove, you can keep going and you don't have to worry about stopping to make quilt sandwiches all the time. So what I do is I just cut them in approximately 12 by 12 or 14 by 14, I find is a good space to work on. And I add some lines on it, as you can see here. Those lines will just give you reference lines to match up with the reference lines that are on our rulers, which I will also go over in another video. What you can do too is, so that to save your cost a little bit, is once you've made your first quilt sandwich, I'll cut several other, just the top piece that will match, and then I will take a little bit of 505 spray. Once I've reached where I can't see what I'm stitching anymore, or I want a clean slate, I will use the 505 spray, put a little bit on, and then put another one on top and mark it how I feel I want to with the rulers, or with my lines, just so that I have a nice clean slate, and it saves me the fabric on the bottom, and it also saves me the batting. And the advantage to that too is it'll get nice and thick, and then you can give it to your local shelter for dogs and cats, and they're usually happy to take them so that they can use them inside the kennels, and then they just dispose of them when they're done with them. So the other thing that makes it a little bit easier to quilt is a mat such as this. And this is a silicone type mat. This is a sew steady mat, or sew slip mat rather. So what you want to do is it comes in a roll, and you want to put that down on your table before you put your fabric down. And that simply slides on, and there's a hole that either comes cut out or you can cut out yourself. And it just slides on there, and it creates a slipperier surface for your moving your quilt. I don't always do that if I'm doing something small like a placemat, but I definitely do it if I'm quilting something larger like a twin size quilt. And then you just put your quilt sandwich back on top, and as you can see, it makes it nice and easy to slide on there. So the most important thing you need when you're ruler quilting is a ruler foot. And you'll see a lot of people use these feet. And the difference with the ruler foot is this edge. It's approximately 1/4 inch thick. Now what that does is it allows your ruler to slide along it, beside it, and there's less chance of the ruler going over top and your needle coming down and hitting it, and there's also less chance, once it's adjusted right, for your ruler to go underneath, and the same thing can happen. And you don't want that to happen because it'll break your ruler, it'll break your needle, and will possibly throw out the timing in your machine, and that can get expensive to fix. So we want to try to avoid that at all costs. So this is the ruler that actually is a Juki foot that came with my machine, or I purchased with my machine. But you can buy aftermarket feet if there's not one that's currently made for your machine. My recommendation is to talk to your local machine dealer, and they will help you get set up with the right foot, be it one that you can buy that is the brand of your machine, or whether it's one that is an aftermarket foot. So we're just going to put this on the machine, and I'm going to show you how to adjust it so that your height is right. So we want to lower our ruler foot, and we should be able to move our quilt sandwich along freely. Prior to this, we've dropped our feed dogs. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. You want to make sure your feed dogs have been dropped so they're down in the down position, and that gives you free movement of your quilt sandwich. And typically what I do is I'll take a business card, and I should be able to slide that under there and still be able to move it. You don't need much more movement than that. I find that if you have the ruler foot a little bit too high, that can create some problems with skip stitches and broken thread. So that's what we want to do there. Now, there is two different rulers. We offer currently two different ruler thicknesses, and we offer 1/8 and we offer 1/4. These are the two different thicknesses. You can see them there. Now, if you currently have rulers, it's easy to know, or easy to tell, which ones you want to use. But if you don't, and you want to order some rulers online, and you're not sure whether you need the 1/8 or the 1/4, it's as simple as taking 4 quarters and placing them on top of your quilt sandwich behind your ruler foot. If you can move your quilt sandwich around and those 4 quarters stay put, that means that you can use the thicker or the 1/4-inch ruler. Our 1/4-inch rulers are also good for work on a long arm machine. They will work as well. So this little test is really just if you're using them on a domestic machine. If you don't have the room for 4 quarters, but you can easily move 2 quarters around, then you want to go with the thinner or the 1/8 ruler. And as you can see, these are two of the different rulers that we currently have. These are our new beanie set rulers, and we'll discuss those and how to use them in a future video. One other thing that makes your job a whole lot easier when you're machine quilting with rulers is a pair of gloves of some sort. You can purchase gloves that are made for quilting. I find I really like these. They're just an inexpensive glove bought from my hardware store. And I like them because I can cut off the 2 fingers, enabling me to have these fingers free to be able to thread my needle if need be, to use my scissors if need be, and also to be able to hold the ruler a little bit and move it around if I need to. So as you can see, these gloves have grippies on the bottom. You can also use gardening gloves. But what I will note is if you cut the fingers off like this, you want to make sure that you use pinking shears. That will make this edge last a little longer before it starts to unravel. And when it does unravel, just cut it back a little further and you can get quite a bit of wear out of them. So I think we've covered the basics of ruler machine quilting. We will be having videos. Hopefully we're posting them every few days with how to use all of the rulers. Our next video will go into how to hold the ruler, how to hold the quilt sandwich so that you get perfect stitches when you're working with your ruler quilting. Thanks so much for stopping in, and we hope to see you soon. If you could like and subscribe down below, that would really help us out. We'd appreciate it very much. If you have any questions for us or would like to see us demo something, please put it in the comments below because we check those often and we'll be able to do videos and answer your questions as soon as possible. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.